Today's show is brought to you by GoDaddy. Buy your own domain name, build your site, or use any of GoDaddy's business tools and save 30%. Just go to trygodaddy.com/HWT. That's trygodaddy.com/HWT. Welcome, one and all, to the Hey We're Talking podcast. Derek, you are silly today.
I'm fine, man.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
The shenanigans are all for show.
I feel like we have to babysit Derek today.
That is true. When you have a friend who's drinking and you're kind of like, oh man, I can't leave him. What am I supposed to do? He's acting kind of goofy. That's how I'm feeling right now about Derek. Like I feel like I wish I was there.
I feel like I've maybe exaggerated my.
Oh, you're doing it just to show off? Is that what it is?
I don't know.
You know, that's what people say usually when they're like, you're like, are you okay? And they're like, oh, I'm just goofing around. I'm okay. And then you keep watching them, and they get that kind of lean. They get the lean. If you start leaning, that's when we know something's wrong. Mm-hmm. Like when you lean back,
or you twitch.
What are you talking about?
Oh my gosh. Okay, just to let you have a peek behind the curtain, the show that we did before this was whiskey. So Derek had some whiskey.
We all drank.
I did
Scott.
not have whiskey.
No, you had rum.
Yeah, I saw you.
Dad, don't listen. I did not have rum. They're lying. I didn't.
But at
drink.
least Scott and I, or Derek and I, were nice enough to like have our Glencairn glasses that we were given to as a gift, and
thank you, Glenn. Thank you,
and Karen. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
and,
Derek, have another sip.
We were drinking out of these, but you took the whole bottle. You're like, oh.
Dad,
drinking out of the whole bottle.
Dad, I did not.
He
do
didn't.
that. Don't listen.
Dad,
to
he
him.
did not. He didn't. It was just a
Oh,
joke.
Dad.
Somebody
Dad,
said I was a
for the show.
Baptist, Dad. I did not.
Somebody's lying, Dad. But
yeah,
you know.
Okay.
Welcome to the program.
Yeah, welcome to the program.
I think my parents might be listening too.
Do your parents listen?
I think they have been a little. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Do they?
My mom is
are
starting
your
to
mom
listen
and
too.
Your mom listens too?
Yeah, she's starting to. She's like, there's a lot of episodes to catch up on, honey. I don't know.
Tell her she doesn't have to listen to like the first 100. I'm going to be honest.
I told her because we've got, looking at the topics and stuff, we've got one coming up that next week that she's going to want to listen to. So I'm just going to tell her, hey, listen to this one specifically. But I just told her, go back a few and just listen through.
What is it? Top 5 reasons that Bob's mom is awesome?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's actually, my mom is pretty awesome. But
if you're going to tell it, what if we don't do it?
Oh, we're doing these.
Okay.
I'll give a teaser. I'll give a teaser for next week. Go
ahead, tease it.
How about that?
Tease it.
All the days. So, the first show next week is going to be advice for your younger self.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, there's a lot of content on that one.
So sad.
And then we're going to talk about guy rules or man rules.
Okay.
The unspoken man rules.
There's unspoken man rules?
There are.
Okay.
Here's a quick example, and then people will understand.
Yeah, don't give them away.
Well, I'm going to just use
one.
one
Tell
example.
one.
It's a teaser, Scott. Shut up.
There's 3 urinals.
Yes.
Walk in. Which one do you go to?
Left.
Whatever one is not where someone is already. You go one between you.
You don't do the middle.
No, you take the ends for sure.
So the rule is you don't do the middle, and you take the ends. And if you happen to have to take the middle, guys understand that. But
no,
you don't just automatically go to the middle.
If there's a 3 urinal station and there's a guy on each end, go in the stall.
If it's not occupied.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I say go for broke and take the handicap stall. Give yourself a little room.
Little leg room if you got.
I know that's, I know people say you're not supposed to do that because you're not handicapped, but I'm going to tell you, as a big guy, if the handicap stall is open, I'm in it.
So that's a nice teaser for the first 2 days next week, and then our last show next week will be lies that our parents told us when we were young.
I looked at that and I'm worried about that because I don't know what they lied to me about. gonna have to really think about it.
I've got a whole lot of them.
I might not even know.
I told my mom the topic, and she just started laughing. Both of my parents were laughing because it was my mom's birthday earlier this week, and she was
Happy
laughing
birthday,
like
Bob's
crazy.
mom.
And I said, she goes, "Oh, do you remember the time that we told you this and that and this?" I mean, I've got so many of them, it's not even funny.
I have a weird one that
Save it for next week.
Yeah, don't say it.
I wasn't going to, guys.
You were starting to. He looked up and he was like, remember when Mom and Dad told us?
But I wasn't going to say it. I may have had a few drinks, but I wasn't going to violate that sacred contract of saving it for the show.
I didn't even know there was a
Oh,
contract.
my gosh.
Yeah, it's an unspoken guy rule.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Well, at least between us.
You don't talk about Fight Club. That's one of the rules for sure.
If we have good stories, we save it for the appropriate show.
Save it for the spreadsheet. Wherever it is on the spreadsheet, you have to save your stories for sure. Okay, so today, listen, we started down this path on the first show this week about haunted houses. And I don't remember how we left it, but Bob was like, okay, wait, we're going to have to continue this because there's a whole bunch more stories about these real, like, we're not talking about the ones you go to and you pay money to walk through. We're talking about real hauntings, like actual hauntings.
And most of that's what our movies, the horror movies that we watch, are based off of. Real stories.
Let me tell you this. So I went to this church function tonight. And we were sitting there talking, and it came up that I had a podcast.
It wasn't a church function that was an exorcism, right? It wasn't like, we got to go exorcise the demon out of this child.
No. So I go to this thing, and we were talking about, I said, we're supposed to be talking about, I told them that the previous week we had talked about horror movies and stuff like that. And I was just talking to a couple of the guys, and we were talking about horror movies. And I was just like, I never got into horror movies. And the one guy said, he was sitting by my wife, and he was like, I never like the horror movies, the newer ones, because a bunch of them are based on real things that have happened. So he said Saw was based on a real thing. And I was like, no! And he was like, yes. Yeah, it's based on a true, I'm sure they took liberties, but he's saying, the concept of Saw was based in some kind of real story.
Well, if you think about it, there's probably a lot of that stuff that happens today on the deep web.
Oh my gosh.
One day we'll get into a whole conversation about the deep web. I've really, really educated myself about it. Just because,
it's the dark web,
it's a
isn't
serious.
Yeah, I was about to say, is it the deep web or the dark web?
It's the dark web.
Dark web, deep web, whatever. But
Either way.
I've read up a lot on it and just trying to understand why to understand it.
Dude.
So
I wouldn't go near it.
Remember, I haven't, but I've got kids and I've got to protect them from things, and if I don't know about something, it's bad. So, but we'll have a whole story on that.
Okay. So we're going to talk all that to say we're going to talk about actual hauntings that are kind of famous or some. Bob's got a bunch of them.
Hold on, Scott.
Okay, go ahead.
These people at church, this church function that you went to earlier tonight, you were talking about the show. Do they listen to the show? You know what? Here's the truth. This church that we've been attending. Cheryl goes all the time. I usually watch online. It's just starting up in our area, so it's not a huge place yet. So this was kind of like a night for people that were interested. It's not huge yet. Well, the real church is super huge. But the satellite location that would be happening where I live is very small at the moment. So anyway, this was another kind of hey, we're starting this thing. Here's some information kind of stuff. So anyway, so it's not huge yet. But yeah, none of them knew me well enough to know about the podcast. They just heard about it tonight. There you go. Do you think any of them will listen? Were they intrigued? Gauge their intriguedness. It was so the point where I mentioned the podcast was so quick that I don't think nobody asked me what the name of it was. So no.
Oh.
I should have handed out a card. Hey, by the way, why don't you check out Hey We're Talking?
You weren't wearing your Hey We're Talking shirt?
No.
To church?
It's too tight.
Come on.
I can wear it on camera because it'll just show from my boobies up, but it's a little tighter on the midsection. Still working on that. Still working. All right.
Okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay. That was a great distraction. Bob, you've got about 4.5 minutes to dive into the first haunted house.
Okay, the first one I'm going to do is probably one of the most popular one we've all heard about. We've heard so many movies based upon this one, but it's the Amityville Horror House in Amityville, New York.
A horror house or a horror?
Horror house.
It sounded like you said horror house.
It did sound like that.
But that's okay. Go ahead.
Thanks for making fun of my speech impediment.
No, you don't have a speech impediment. You just said horror house on accident.
So it's perhaps one of the most controversial as well as frightening haunted houses in the country. It's a small town house within this very small community, and it was the house of a very large mass murder, and a lot of things have occurred after that. And the early hours of 1974. Ronald Defoe Jr., not William's brother, but Ronald Defoe Jr., he stalked into his family's home with a rifle, and he killed everyone while they slept in their beds. The victims, including his parents, 4 siblings, who ranged in the ages from 9 to 18 years old. Just over a year after that, the Lutz family moved into the home, and where they began to experience all kinds of paranormal events, so severe that they abruptly left after living in the house for only a month. The events that occurred there were extreme cold spots, very odd smells, slamming doors, moving objects. The children began sleeping in the manner that Defoe's children would sleep. So normally, kids sleep all different kinds of ways, on their side and on their back and on their stomach, but all the kids basically changed their sleeping pattern, and they all slept on their stomach face down. And that's something that the Lutz family's like, our kids have never done that. That's the same way that the kids were killed before us.
Derek, cut it out. He's being a goofball. Stop. He's moving his camera all over the place. Go ahead.
Their youngest daughter befriended somebody that was described as a demonic entity. Welts appeared on the kids out of nowhere. And this is a real, true house that I believe still stands today.
That's
does.
Crazy.
I've looked it up on like Google Street View.
And
it's there.
Oh.
And
okay.
And, you've seen the image on like the movies where it looks like those 2 windows in the attic, they look like eyes. If you've ever
do they look like that on Google Street View?
They've renovated it so it's different. The windows are different now.
Oh.
I think to change it out.
So do you think if they renovate, if they have like, somebody from HGTV come in and fix it, that it's not haunted anymore?
Oh, absolutely. Maybe. That gets rid of that. In all seriousness, if I can muster up any of that,
I know. Can you be serious?
I can. I don't really believe in hauntings and ghosts, but I think that the murder that occurred there was real. The dude showed up and killed like a family of 4 or 5. It's kind of crazy that was overshadowed by allegations of haunting and things like that.
Let's be real though. If someone's going to come into your house and murder you, wouldn't it be best if they shot you while you were asleep?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the way I want to be.
Although you'd have to be the first person to go, or the gunshot would wake you up. So then the other people weren't awake. That's the worst part. If you're the first person to get it while you're sleeping, that would be good. I don't know why. That's so morbid. What's wrong with me?
That went weird.
It did get weird. But that's what happened to Phil Hartman. His wife shot him while he was asleep and then shot herself.
That's crazy. But the house is there, but we haven't heard any like recent stories about it. I mean, apparently
I don't think anybody lives there.
Are you sure?
I think people live there. It looks.
You'd have to have some cojones to be the person who's like, you know what? Get me the Amityville Horror House, guys.
But it's like right on the ocean, bro.
As long as it's by the ocean, bro. Some tasty waves in New York, dude.
Yeah, it's like on Long Island. I would imagine the property.
Long Island. It's a wanted property on Long Island.
A wanted or haunted?
It's haunted and wanted on Long Island. We should ask Kevin Twyford about this because he lived on the Long Island. He grew up there. He grew up on the Long Island.
I would imagine he's probably at least driven by it.
Oh, sure. Dude, that would be a great... We need to ask him about that. I know he listens to the show, so Kevin, you need to tell us about the Amityville Horror House. Oh, see, I sound like I said horror house, too. It's horror. Amityville Horror.
Yeah.
Do I still have y'all's beer and backy chat going, or can we like?
What kind of weird question is that? Oh my gosh! All right, listen, we're gonna take a quick break. That's a bizarre. That is the weirdest question. Okay, we're gonna come back, and Bob's got another horror house for us after this. Fast, simple, and affordable. That's what registering your domain name with GoDaddy will be. Fast, simple, affordable. And if you listen to this show, Hey, We're Talking, you know you're getting a discount, 30% off if you go to trygodaddy.com/HWT. Again, 30% off. All you have to do is go to trygodaddy.com/HWT for 30% off your domain name and other business services provided by GoDaddy. Hey everybody, it's Scott from Hey, We're Talking. You've heard us talk about Gamefly.com before. The basics are this. They've got over 8,000 titles for every gaming platform you can think of, and they're giving you a 30-day free trial. That's right, 30-day free trial for you, the listeners of Hey, We're Talking. You want to play video games? You want to be a champ at video games? Go to gameflyoffer.com/HWT. That's gameflyoffer.com/HWT for your 30-day free trial. Oh my gosh. These haunted houses. Stupid. I don't like it.
I've got a list. We're not going to get through any of half of them, but I've got a list of like 50 different haunted houses that are real. People feel they're really, really haunted.
You're going to have to save them for next year because I don't want to do any. We've done all these horror, all these hauntings. I'm done.
You're getting scared.
I'm not scared. I'm just like, how much more of this evil can we partake in?
It doesn't necessarily have to be evil.
No, we're just educating people.
Educating people on haunted houses. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Bob, you've got one you're going to share with us. Go ahead. Tell us the story.
So this one's the Adam Thorogood House in Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Is he the guy that does Bad to the Bone?
That's George.
George. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
This house dates back to about 1720. They actually believe it was built earlier than that, so they believe it's much older, but they don't know for sure. Adam Thorogood was a successful tobacco farmer and businessman. It's been very uneventful history over the last 3 centuries, but the activity in the house has not been so quiet. 2 apparitions commonly appear. One is a man and the other is a woman, both in 18th century attire. The woman is known for carrying candles throughout the house, while the man is simply observing, he's been observed passing from room to room, perhaps looking for something. A large group of visitors even witnessed the sudden movements of inanimate objects.
Nope.
Oh, wow.
Nope. I'm out.
They say my hospital is haunted.
Oh, my gosh.
Guys, stay out of room 102. Stay out of room 102.
Gosh dang it.
They say, all right, we've had patients. It's one of the closest rooms to the nurse's station. There are many staff that believe that room is haunted. I know that many, many people have died in that room. I know because I've witnessed it.
And it's a hospital.
It is a hospital, and we do hospice care. We do hospice care at the hospital. And so we have a lot of people.
We knew a guy who did the hospice care. He was like a person. He was the angel of death. Tyler.
Yeah. Tyler.
Yep. Tyler used to come and whisk people off into the netherworld.
Yep.
It
Okay.
takes a tough person to do that job.
No kidding, dude.
But in our room 102
Uh-huh.
at Martin County Hospital in Stanton, it is believed that that room is haunted and that many of our patients will see the figure of a woman. They'll see a lady.
Will this be in the commercials that you make?
No,
For the hospital?
No, I've already made that, and I'm sure it's.
Derek's like,
go out to
and
County.
room 102, everybody.
Stay in room 102.
Yeah.
Looking for a spooky night alone? Head on over to room 102.
Yeah, they'll say that they see a woman, and we'll look, because they'll be looking like right into space. And this has happened more than once. They'll be like looking at something.
Are they on drugs by chance?
And no, they're usually like on the brink of death.
Oh gosh.
And they'll see like a woman right there.
Is she nice or is she scaring them on the way to death?
No, she's not scaring them. They're just like, hey, look at that woman.
Maybe she's like the Grim Reaper or something. Just taking them to the light.
Or it could be the spirit of someone who passed earlier. I don't
thought
know.
You didn't believe in that.
Maybe that's what I don't believe in it, but maybe that's what it could be if like it were real. And hey guys, you ever seen one of these?
Derek,
remember these?
Derek, slap bracelet. Come on, dude.
I found a slap bracelet in this room. It was like protecting a.
He needs like a 10-second mute violation, but I can't do it. All right, Bob, you were telling us a story, and then all of a sudden it became about room 102.
That's okay. I got another story.
It's a real haunted place. People believe that to be haunted. So I mean, what more do you want?
So the Thorogood house, basically, people just seen a man walking around from room to room, a woman walking around with a candle. They've seen inanimate objects move. So this one is Kenmore Plantation in Fredericksburg, Virginia. It's a beautiful plantation house, and it's surrounded with buildings that were built in 1776 by Fielding Lewis for his wife Betty, who was also the sister of George Washington.
Whoa!
Lewis sank a lot of money into the war effort against Britain during the American fight for independence, and apparently his ghost is still concerned over the state of the finances of his estate.
A ghost who's concerned about finances. That is awesome.
He's often been seen sitting, going over papers with a sour look on his face. He has also been heard pacing the floor with hail-heavy footsteps.
Sour look on his face is the best ghost ever.
Staff has also reported seeing doorknobs turn on their own.
Oh, he's like, gosh. I can't believe we're offering free Wi-Fi around here. Freeloaders.
Can you believe how much we're charging these people for a cup of coffee?
Freaking hipsters.
That's a good one, Bob. I like that one.
Well, here, how about this one?
Okay,
we'll probably have time for one more.
Yeah.
So the Lizzie,
you got time for two, actually. Go ahead.
Okay. The Lizzie Borden house in Fall River, Mass.
Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her father 40 whacks, and when she saw what she had done, gave her mother 41.
Man, he's got a rhyme.
That's what it is. What does it say?
Undoubtedly the most famous residence in Mass. I can't say Massachusetts. Properly, so I just call it Mass. So
that's okay.
Boston,
Massachusetts.
This house was the notorious site of the axe murders of the parents of Lizzie Borden, who herself was the main suspect in the murders. There was no such evidence against her that she was quickly charged. There was so much evidence against her that she was quickly charged with the crime and sent to court, only to be acquitted. No other person was charged with the murders, making this one of the nation's most well-known unsolved murder cases. Oddly enough, Borden remained in Fall River for the rest of her life, residing in a neighborhood not too far from where the murders took place. It is believed that her desire to remain here was held true even in death. Her ghost has often been seen throughout the house and has been heard laughing on the second floor near the stairs. Her father and stepmother have also been seen and heard along with her former maid, who has been heard calling for help.
Oh
yeah,
my
I bet their
gosh.
Thanksgiving's awkward. You know, the ghost Thanksgiving, when they're meeting
You're
around.
such a weirdo.
Why'd you
Why'd
kill me,
you chop
Lizzie?
us with an axe?
She'd be like, I was acquitted, Dad. So you
Yeah,
stop
nobody
it."
can prove anything. If the glove does not fit, you must acquit. Right?
Yeah.
Bob, what's the next one?
So we'll stay in Mass.
Okay. In
House
Mass.
Yes, House of Seven Gables in Salem, Massachusetts.
Oh boy, Salem. Look out.
Two,
Does this one involve any witches?
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
There you go. One of the most well-known historic houses in New England, the House of the Seven Gables, was immortalized by
It's immortalized,
Nathaniel-
but yes.
Nathaniel Hawthorne's novel of the same name. Built in 1667, the house evolved over the years, featuring additions and renovations that altered or removed additions until finally it began to be restored. Garbage. The house is now a museum, and staff and visitors often report supernatural occurrences. The electricity and plumbing systems seem to have minds of their own, as lights and faucets turn on and off unaided. Shadows and full apparitions have also been encountered, including a woman believed to be a former owner and a little boy who plays in the attic.
Nope. As soon as there's kids, nope.
Especially
Nope.
little boys and attics.
Yeah, nope.
It's a really old house. I mean, my house was built in like the 1950s, and it's falling apart.
They
certain
built
point.
houses back then like to last forever.
Yes. Yeah.
And then somebody
400
was like, "Hey, I got a great idea. Let's build the house so that it's going to need work on it, so we'll have jobs in the future." That's what they did.
Get it? Yeah.
Do I have time for one more?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Villisika Axe Murder House.
No more
in
Massachusetts.
Villisika, Iowa.
Villisika, Iowa.
On the night of June 9th, 1912, 8 people, including 6 children, were murdered in the house by an unknown assailant wielding an axe.
Gosh dang it.
The murders, not surprisingly, caused a national sensation, and while many suspects were questioned and even tried, but later acquitted. The mass murder remains unsolved to this day, either from the...
It was Lizzie Borden.
Whatever just happened, the ghost did not want us to hear about it because Bob completely froze. Can you believe it?
Should we end the show against his will?
No. I'm hoping that he comes back suddenly and he'll have a really scary, spooky face. Like he'll scare us when he comes back on the show. These stories are terrible. I hate this so much. I don't even know how to tell you how much I hate this. Do you like this, Derek? I hate these stories.
I mean, I'm having a blast, but for other reasons.
I hate talking about these murders. It is awful. It's not fun. Can we put a moratorium on the murder talk?
I mean, if the murders are like 100 years ago, I mean,
I don't know, Derek.
come on. They were going to be dead. They'd be dead today anyway.
Right, but I don't like these axings and all this other stuff. It's horrible.
I don't like
And
to
the children.
axe people, you know. But let's axe Bob to not talk about that anymore.